Okay, go.
Okay, let me get the list.
Uh, Sadly, with
Okay.
that, I must bid you all a good night. You all.
Good night.
Night,
Good
night.
night, Blake.
Good night. Yeah, I just
Okay.
woke up. 7 to 2. That's a hell of a sleep schedule.
We recording?
I had a giant
Yes.
nap in the middle of the day, so
We are.
Okay. We're gonna go quickly through all the DreamWorks films
Damn it,
that
Nick.
I've seen. Ants. Ants is the story about a young ant named Flick who wants to prove his worth to the colony and prove that his inventions can be helpful. But he runs afoul of the evil grasshopper Kevin Spacey, who is a rapist. And it gets really dark, and there's this weird sexual undercurrent that just makes the whole film just really unsettling, almost as if Woody Allen was involved. It's really unpleasant. The Prince of Egypt is like probably the only good film that's ever been made that's directly based off of a story in the Bible. It's really good, even with the one weird cartoon scene of Martin Short and Steve Martin singing what's almost a rap about Egyptian gods. Even with that,
that scene was still good though.
it's quite possibly the only good film adaptation of like an actual Bible story. The Road to El Dorado.
It's still good, if only for just how weird and hilarious it is.
No jokes. The scene where you first meet God and the voice in the burning bush, like that gives the good little Catholic boy in me chills every time I watch it. It's just like in that moment I have the same religious faith that I had as a child. It's like I feel the presence of God in that scene. It's a really good film.
Interesting. The voice of God is the same voice of Moses. You know, consider or the actor is it's the same. Take that whatever symbolism as you will.
The Road to El Dorado is about two gay men who go to South America. The soundtrack sucks. Fight me, nerds. Chicken Run. Chicken Run is about a bunch of chickens who want to escape Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's about right.
They don't succeed.
Understandably so.
Shrek. Shrek is a movie about how much the people at DreamWorks really hated their time working at Disney. Wherein a fat green ogre brutally murders every single character in Disney canon and feasts on their flesh. Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron is a film I haven't seen, but I assume it's about horse fucking because all the horses have come fuck me eyes.
It's actually a really good movie if you. It's actually a really good movie if you can ignore the bullshit narrator at times.
Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas. I also didn't see it, but Michelle Pfeiffer apparently plays Cersei, and like when I was older, I grew to appreciate Michelle Pfeiffer. And it's like, man, she was a really talented actress. It's a shame we don't use her more. She appears in Murder on the Orient Express, and she's like kick ass in it. The world did Michelle Pfeiffer a bad turn, is my point. Also, it's about the sea, I guess. Shrek 2. The green ogre from Shrek is at it again, finding more characters from Disney, the really obscure ones, to just messily devour. Shark Tale is a movie about human beings who, through a horrific Dr. Moreau-like surgical process, have been turned into fish, and are now all slowly dying as their half-fish, half-human bodies slowly, like, asphyxiate under the water. Madagascar is a movie about 4 really funny penguins who want to escape from prison, and also some celebrities voice characters who are forgettable and no one cares about.
Party!
Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is about 2 beloved British cartoon characters fighting a giant werewolf, and no one cared because this is America.
I was like the only one who cared.
I watched it. I thought it was decent.
Over the Hedge. I didn't see it, but I assume everyone smokes a big fat blunt.
It was pretty good. I watched it. It was pretty good.
Flushed Away is about where turds come from. In Shrek the Third, Shrek is at it again, eating even more obscure Disney characters, but this time he's also moved on to the Looney Tunes because they're running out. B-Movie is a fever dream. It never actually happened, and you hallucinated it. And if you try to find evidence of its existence, you'll realize that you have psychological problems.
Is it even a real movie? I don't
No,
know.
it doesn't. You have a psychosis. You need help. Madagascar 2: Escape to Africa is about those four penguins once again trying to escape from jail, and also they still have some characters voiced by some celebrities that no one cares about and who never amount to anything or do anything of interest. I skipped. Oh, Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda comes before that bullshit. Kung Fu Panda, despite its horrible, horrible title, is a really touching story about a fat person finding that they can have worth in a world that hates fat people. And also there's a turtle, and he's a wise master of philosophy and martial arts. And there's a scene where he ascends to Nirvana, and it's so touching, it'll make you cry.
It's a really good
Also quite hilarious.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, Monsters vs. Aliens is a critically, horrifically underrated movie about a woman who believes that she has to follow her significant male other's plans in life and change all of her own ambitions to suit him. But then one day she's hit with a rock and turned into a giant goddess. And she makes 3 awesome monster friends, kills an alien tyrant, and learns that men are garbage, and kills Paul Rudd. And it's really empowering and funny, and has lots of great homages to 1950s monster films. And there's a couple of lines and jokes that are kind of groany, but overall it's a really good movie about how you don't need no man.
I really want a sequel to that movie real bad.
How to Train Your Dragon is a story about people overcoming xenophobia that uses a fantastical setting as a metaphor. And essentially, it's one of 50,000 movies that do the exact same thematic thing that James Cameron's Avatar tried to do, but much better. In the same year that movie came out, How to Train Your Dragon is better at everything James Cameron tried to accomplish with Avatar, and it's a cartoon about dragons that has fucking T.J. Miller in it. It's also really good on its own merits, but it should be noted, it made James Cameron look like a bitch. Shrek Forever After waited a long time for Disney to make more characters so Shrek could once again come out and messily devour their flesh. He chews up the Princess and the Frog. He chews up some Pixar characters. He just eats every single Disney character, and it's really gory, even more so this time. It's like the Saw movies, where it just starts getting super over the top to compensate for the fact that you've lost interest in this premise. And that's Shrek Forever After. Megamind is one of the best Will Ferrell movies. It's about a supervillain who kills his superhero rival and realizes that life is a hollow sham of nothingness, and tries desperately to deal with depression. And it's really good. It's really funny. I'm being completely serious here. It's a very good movie. You should see it, especially if you're sick of superhero movies, because it just guts them. It's got some great soundtrack moments too, and Will Ferrell's at his best. And good Will Ferrell is like a fine wine. Kung Fu Panda 2 takes all the good things of Kung Fu Panda 1 and makes them better, and takes all the flaws of Kung Fu Panda 1 and fixes them. It has one of the best villains in animated canon, not just in terms of how threatening and interesting they are, but also in like how well developed they are. Like, it is good. Definitely worth binge watching over and over again on repeat while you cry because your life has gone to hell.
And Gary Oldman. He's voicing that villain, which is a plus in my book.
Puss in Boots is a movie about getting some pussy.
No.
That pun was so horribly accurate.
It is an entire movie about eating people out.
And his
Madagascar 3. Once again, Europe's Most Wanted. Once again, those wacky penguins are having a nice little heist prison break shenanigans. And once again, somehow there are these other characters who are voiced by celebrities, and no one cares. And they never have. Why are these characters still here?
The villain of the third movie is actually very interesting, or quote-unquote villain, because she's just doing her job and he's fuck nuts crazy.
She is crazy. She's like
Rise of the Guardians is essentially like Avengers, but with holiday, with children's folktale characters.
There we go.
Not really fairy tale, like the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, and it's really good and it's really sweet and it's beautiful and it's exciting, and it failed horribly at the box office because humans are a garbage species with no taste. The Croods is about an alien planet that has been seeded with life using nothing but Nicolas Cage's DNA.
You're gonna have to explain that joke because I don't see it.
And it's a horror show, as you would expect.
I like
Turbo. Turbo is a movie about snails that are cyborgs, I think. The tagline is, "The snail is fast," and let me assure you, the snail is fast.
So it's very accurate to it. It's a really good movie, actually.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman is an adaptation of one of the recurring shorts in Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's very good. It keeps to the spirit of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which is having really thoughtful, dry humor and lots of wordplay, being just sort of sweet and snarky, but not in a mean-spirited way. It has lots of, they're time travelers, so there's lots of history jokes and all that. It's really fun and underrated, and it tanked horribly. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is a sequel to How to Train Your Dragon. Almost as good as the first one. Still a better movie at getting across the points of James Cameron's Avatar than James Cameron's Avatar. And it did all right. The Penguins of Madagascar is about those wacky penguins who once again are doing an escape or whatever. And this time, those horrible characters voiced by celebrities that no one cares about because they're so boring are dead. The movie begins with the Penguins of Madagascar looking at their tombstones and saying, "Thank God they're gone." And then some other minor characters in the series come and it's like a 10-minute scene of every minor character in the series coming by just to spit on their graves before the titles start. It's great. Benedict Cumberbatch is in it, so you'll have to suffer that, but other than that, it's great. Home. It has the Big Bang Theory guy in it, so I wouldn't see it.
He does a very good job at the role.
That man is living throat cancer.
That's the appeal. That's the whole point. He acts condescending, while at the same, he's a lot fun. He basically turns up the friendliness, but still keep it in the same condescending shitbag attitude as Sheldon.
Kung Fu Panda 3 builds on what was laid down in Kung Fu Pandas 1 and 2. It's not quite as good as 1 and 2, but it's still really good, and I wish that there would be more Kung Fu Panda movies, but there probably won't, because, as reiterated before, humans are a garbage species. Trolls. Trolls is the first movie DreamWorks made because they were desperate for money. The Boss Baby is the second movie DreamWorks made because they're desperate for money, and has perfected the art of making a character that's so clinically cute that it is utterly revolting to anyone with more than a primitive vestigial brain. Looking at a character from the Boss Baby, and not just the titular Boss Baby, any of the other characters, looking at their horrific watery eyes, their gummy little mouths, looking at their precious moment style proportions, you will vomit profusely. Possibly projectile vomit, possibly from both ends of the digestive tract. It's not pleasant to experience. Captain Underpants. I've heard it's very good, and it's very beautifully stylized, but the Captain Underpants books are anti-educator propaganda, and I, for one, will not support them. And that's DreamWorks.
Boo!
So just to be okay, so the Boss Baby came